Good afternoon, everybody. It's 1 o'clock. Welcome and thank you for coming to the September 9th version of the United Tennessee Veterans Association. And before we get started, I'm going to call roll. I want to make sure that all of you remember, and especially if you come in after the roll is taken, please be sure that you sign a sign-in sheet. Because as you are probably aware, you have to attend, your organization has to be present for at least 2 meetings in a calendar year or you go inactive. So help us stay straight in the role if you would please do that. So I'm going to start off with the Air Force Sergeants Association. American Ex-Prisoners of War, really? American Legion. AMVETS, DAV, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Vietnam Veterans of America, Waves National, Women Veterans of America, Wounded Warrior Project. Well, not only do we have a quorum, but great attendance, so I do call this meeting to order. Yes, Frank. Okay, thank you. And I'm going to mark that. Thank you very much. And before we get started, I just want to say as a lead-in that this is really an exciting time, and I'm glad that we do have such high attendance with our new Secretary of the VA, Secretary MacDonald in place. We've already seen some changes. We've had elections throughout the state, so there's some new legislators that will be taking office. There's some new local officials, and so that's going to impact what you see throughout the state. And it's also the time that we're starting to look at budget for fiscal year 16. So a lot of things happening, and your attendance, your input, your knowledge of what's going on in the state so that you can share this with your membership is so important. So as we get started, I'm first going to ask you to stand. John Fergus will lead us in prayer, and then I will lead us in the pledge. So John, please.
God our Father, we come to you today as the United Tennessee Veterans Association with a renewed sense of energy and dedication to help our veterans wherever we can across the great state of Tennessee. We're also in the shadows of a very important date in our nation's history, 9/11. As many Americans died on that day as died at Pearl Harbor, 1941. Remember, God our Father, as we commemorate next week, September the 19th, POW MIA Recognition Day in America. We ask all these things in your holy name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Now, I trust you all received a copy of the minutes and had an opportunity to review them. Do I have a motion to approve? Okay, Mary Lee, and we'll take the motions first, and then we'll take corrections. Okay? Do we have a motion to approve? Second? Okay. Now, corrections or additions to the minutes, and Mary Lee said her name was omitted from the minutes, and I'm quite sure that we do remember you, Mary Lee, so we'll make that correction. Any other corrections to the minutes? All in favor in approving the minutes with one change? Say aye. Opposed? The minutes are approved. We're We're going to start right off with our briefings, and we're very fortunate today to have two of our VA directors. Our first speaker is Dr. Diane Knight. She is the director of the VA Medical Center in Memphis, and appreciate your making the long trip here. So, Dr. Knight, if you'd like to go ahead and start, we'll make sure that the red light is on your mic. Okay, thank you and welcome.
Thank you for having me here today to give you a state of the facility report of the Memphis VA. Many of you already know, because some of you were there at the meetings with us, that the new secretary visited us week before last. Secretary Robert MacDonald came. He was very personable, very approachable, met with our stakeholders, including congressional representatives, as well as our VAVS and our different organizations that support the VA. Around the facility, we now call him Just Call Me Bob. He wouldn't let anybody call him Mr. Secretary. And I had really rehearsed my Mr. Secretary well. It was the first time I was going to meet a secretary, so I had rehearsed it. And he said, no, please call me Bob. And from the top executive leadership to the frontline housekeepers, it was please call me Bob. He is a very nice-spirited man. One thing that I can say about our facility is that when he left us, we were inspired by his enthusiasm. He comes from the private sector. He was the prior CEO of Procter & Gamble. He picks fun at himself about being able to sell soap suds, and he knows he can do this. So we're very happy to have him. We were very pleased that Memphis was the third facility that he visited after he was appointed Secretary of Veterans Affairs. He had gone to Phoenix first, and we're going to talk a little bit about the scheduling difficulties out there. He had visited Phoenix first and then Reno and then came to Memphis. We were lucky to have hosted the AMVETS convention this year, because that's why we got to be number 3, was because the AMVETS convention was hosted in Memphis this time. We had just gotten over the excitement of the Deputy Undersecretary's visit 3 weeks before, towards the middle of July. And she came and participated in a town hall meeting with us. And as she left, she told me, she said, she said a lot of times, maybe it's because of our position or the fact that we're dignitaries. She said a lot of times in the VA hospitals, the frontline staff will walk along, and as they see us coming forward, she said they'll either move over towards the wall and look away. She said, your staff is not like that. They're very assertive, they're very friendly, and this is the kind of atmosphere that we wish was in all of our VAs. While I'm talking about that, let me tell you what leadership did yesterday morning. The associate director and I went for the morning shift, which was at 6:30, to hand out eye care pens. One of the things that Robert MacDonald expressed was that he was very well aware of the initiative that Robert Petzel set forth before, and he was the undersecretary rather, for operations management. And eye care stands for integrity, commitment, advocacy, respect, and excellence. But Secretary MacDonald wanted to take it just a little bit further. And he asked us to make a commitment about what we care about. 2 of those things really struck home with all of us. And those were, I care for those who served. And the second is, I care for those who I work with. The third one is something that shows that he went to West Point. It's straight out of the West Point handbook. And it's, I care enough to select the harder right than the easier wrong. We've held town meetings about this. We've handed out pens. We've expanded on the I care philosophy, because we believe that Secretary MacDonald would want us to permeate the facility with that and to get a recommitment from our veterans. All of the network leadership for VISA 9, which stretches from Memphis on the west end all the way over to Huntington, West Virginia. He had all of the directors recommit using the pledges that Robert MacDonald set forward. And so we're asking our employees at the individual facilities to commit either in informal ceremonies or as groups. And we think it's really helping the morale. One thing helped my morale yesterday. I welcomed the largest new employee orientation class that we've had in the 2 years that I've been serving there, either as interim or as director. I received my appointment July 29th a year ago. I was working there for 7 months prior to that as the interim director. We usually have 6 or 8. We had 23 yesterday. We were told if you're short of staff and that's why you can't meet the care dates that are promised and you can't deliver timely care and get those new enrollees into your clinics, fill those voids. Fill those vacancies. We'll make sure that the money is there. The bill was signed. I think all of you know that it was $17 billion that came to the VA. We will be getting our portion of that. We've already gotten $3.8 million, and I put that in the read-ahead that we sent forward, in my report that we sent forward. We got the $3.8 million, but that was aimed at one thing, and that's getting care in the community. Without our community partners, the hospitals where we send patients when we overflow from our hospital or don't have the appropriate kind of bed, or that's a service that we don't provide, all the way from that down to the easiest optometry appointment. We were told get rid of those waiting lists. We have no waiting list in primary care right now. We always want to have a list on the near list. You may have heard a lot about the near list. Stands for newly enrolled. And we always want to make sure that we check that every day because somebody's newly enrolling every day. And that's where our enrollment goes up. It doesn't sound like a lot of veterans, but Memphis grew more than any other Vision 9 facility last year with 3,000 new enrollees. As we grow and as we add programs, we've not been able to fill vacancies as we identified them. Now we can fill those vacancies and we can grow our programs. I think he's been a little bit overwhelmed by the personnel requests that have come forward from the individual facilities. Ours alone was 324 employees that we needed. Those 324 employees will do a couple of things. Number one, this $3.8 million that we got to spend out in the community and to secure services out in the community if we weren't able to provide them in-house, we want to repatriate those services because we think that the VA cares for veterans better than anybody else. We want to bring the colonoscopies back in-house. We want to bring the dermatology back in-house. We've got a lot of new providers that are on board that will be able to bring a lot of those services back in-house. We can't deliver patient-centered care. We can't really say that we're caring for the veterans the best if we can't get them in the front door. And we've got to have the providers, the equipment, and the space to do it. They put out a nationwide call and said, what do you need? Tell us, space, equipment, what's holding you back? What's your bottleneck? And we all told them. And after that, the bill was signed. They're looking at a different distribution model for our particular network so that the funds will be distributed among the facilities that have the greatest need and the ones that are growing programs. Some have kept up, some have not. Our 2 1A complex facilities, which is the most critical of the facilities as far as the complexity of care, are Tennessee Valley right here in Nashville and Memphis. As you well know, many of our veterans, 51% for Memphis as a matter of fact, are eligible to receive vouchers to get care out in the community. We don't want them to get care out in the community. We'd prefer to serve them at the VA. That's our mission. I've held every 3-week town hall meetings with the employees since all of the national media started. And that's to make sure that they know what I know to be true. I've never seen a bunch of people that could keep their eye on the mission, which was serving our veterans and delivering patient-centered care, better than these people have with all the distractions that are going on around them. And I've told them that if you work at the VA and you live in a neighborhood, you're the expert. Whether you want to be or not, you're the expert in your community as far as what's going on at the VA. So I tell them exactly what's going on. And I know that morale has been low there. I think the influx of new employees and the new blood there is helping. I think that I see a slowing down. We had a lot of retirees lately. I think I've seen a slowing down of the exodus of VA employees. I was delighted last Friday to call our registered nurses together and tell them that because of the keen competition out there in the neighborhood, that we had to step up and we had to make our salaries comparable to the community. Our community partners support us. We couldn't survive without them, but we don't want to be too heavily reliant on them. But they do serve as a competition when we try to go after rare specialists and we go after our nursing staff. So we needed to get more competitive. So we sent forward what's called a locality pay survey, and we were able to give every RN in the place a raise. They've not had one in 4 years. So we were able to start with that particular section as far as getting some competitive pay. Let's talk for just a minute about the things that are going on locally at the facility. The emergency department has gotten a lot of publicity. We're building a new emergency department. We're doing a remodeling and expansion. We will go from 19 rooms to 38 rooms. We've hired a lot of doctors. The most important one, not that anybody's more important than the other, but we've been looking for a long time for a board-certified emergency department chief. We've got one in Dr. Nick Lasama. Dr. Lasama was last stationed at the Walter Reed Army Medical Center, and he was the ED director there. We felt like that was a real coup for us. He brings his expertise to us, and we're glad to have him. He is recruiting some well-qualified ED physicians. We have added 30% more nurses to our ED staff. We're meeting a lot of the national targets and meeting a lot. The left without being seen number, we were one of the highest in the nation. The target is 5%. We're down to 4% as of this past month. Our high was 18%. So we're making some real progress as far as moving patients through the emergency department and looking at the admit length of stay as well as the length of stay for those people who are not admitted. We opened back up the fast track when we were able to hire 2 nurse practitioners for those people who don't have as acute a disease as, say, a myocardial infarction, or they come in with some acute problem brought in by an ambulance. We can have those people go through the fast track. And so nurse practitioners are helping us expand our role in the community. We're excited about that emergency department, but we're also excited about our operating rooms. Whenever you build something in the VA, you have to put it in a skip plan, and a lot of times it's 2, 3, 4 years before that you have to put those plans in place. That's what happened with our operating room. We predict that it'll be December before we open the 7 operating rooms. We had to take it down to 5 during construction, and we're working some really long hours in there. That will go up to 7 in December when we open the new spaces. We will eventually occupy all 10 rooms that are being prepared. We know that when we start to bring services back in-house, we'll be able to keep all 10 of those rooms busy. The parking garage, people think I've given up on that. I haven't. As many of you know, parking is a real issue at Memphis. We're landlocked. We don't have enough space for patients nor our employees to park. I think there's a certain benefit to having employees, having everybody park on station, having everybody park nearby. Right now, that is not possible. We're talking with our enhanced use lease folks out there up in central office, and they're helping us work with an architect, Mr. Darden, and Michael can tell you he's on the phone with them every week. We thought we ran into a snag with one of our bargaining units because there is a clause in the national agreement that says that if you have been providing, if a employee has not been paying for parking, they can never be charged. Our unions are all for bringing all the parking back on station. They want this parking garage. They helped us to find a way around that. It's not breaking the master agreement, but the parking places in the garage, if we build a parking garage, haven't existed before. So we won't be charging for a space that wasn't there before. We were overwhelmed with the number of employees that said, sure, we'll pay for parking if we can park nearby. So we're not giving up on the parking garage. It's just that as we meet each hurdle, we're climbing over it. But I'm pretty excited about it because I've seen the drawings, I've seen the architect's rendering. It looks like it's going to resolve a lot of our problems. Many of you know we pulled all the employee parking out of the west garage where the main bed tower is. We pulled the employee parking out of there altogether. And we bought more parking spaces down the street in BioWorks so that our employees park off station and take a shuttle back and forth to the parking garage. So that will enhance our veteran parking. Whenever the garage is built, all employees will be parking in the parking garage, and the ground level parking will all be for our veterans. Primary care wait time. Let's talk a little bit about why the national media was on the VA. It had to do with hidden waiting lists and scheduling practices and so forth. They really didn't find anything at Memphis other than we needed more training about what the desired date was. The desired date can be when the veteran chooses it or when the doctor says they need to see the patient back. And our staff was not clearly able to explain that. No hidden waiting list. Nobody was asking people to schedule things that weren't legitimate. We felt like we came out very good with our scheduling inspection, but they did feel like we needed to do some more training. I went personally on the first round of CBOC, the community-based outpatient clinics. I personally went around and interviewed the clerks there to make sure that nobody had coerced them into doing any kind of scheduling practice that they weren't comfortable with. I got a field view of what integrity means to them and listened to their concerns about what they need to do their job better. I came back telling everyone that I no longer will have any hesitation of having a patient go to a contract clinic. I am just as confident in the contract clinics out there that we've got for the Memphis VA as I am our VA staffed clinics. We do have a transfer list. There are patients who want to transfer to the Savannah, Tennessee clinic. Each one of our contract clinics has a set capacity that they can care for. We've reached that maximum capacity and then a little bit more. And so what we're doing is we're renegotiating their contract right now and adding an addendum so that we can take care of those 40 veterans that are on that wait list. It's not that they're not receiving care. They're receiving care somewhere where they would prefer to be closer to home at the Savannah location. So we should have those 40 to 60 spots opened up relatively soon. May I answer any questions? Yes, sir.
I noticed you didn't mention spinal care. There was a time when Memphis was looked upon as a regional center for spinal care injury for veterans. Is that not still the case, or has there been some lessening of spinal care at Memphis?
No, sir, not at all. As a matter of fact, we met with the Paralyzed Veterans Association yesterday, and we went through all of the improvements. Our last site visit, they asked us about specific things having to do with staffing. We're fully staffed in the spinal cord injury unit. We're still considered the regional hub. The spinal cord injury centers are set up as a hub and spokes. We have recently lost our spinal cord injury chief to retirement. Dr. Nambiar retired. So Dr. Cyrus, who is our rehab chief, has volunteered to take over as the interim chief until we get someone hired. If you all know spinal cord injury chiefs, please send them our way. It turns out that they're a fairly rare commodity.
You mentioned Savannah. What are the other CBOCs in your area?
Okay, I visited every one of them so I can name them. Okay, we have the North and South Clinic in addition to the main facility. The North and South Clinic, one's in Covington and one is just south of Memphis. The other VA staff clinic is in Jackson, Tennessee. The contract clinics are Savannah, Smithville, Holka. Smithville.
That's Middle Tennessee, though.
It's in Mississippi.
Okay.
We have a Smithville too.
Yeah.
Smithville encompasses the Tupelo, Holka, and Tremont campuses, so we visited each one of those. Holly Springs is our newest campus. The Bahia contract ran out, and Holly Springs won the contract. It's 18 miles down the road in the same congressional district. Then there's Dyersburg and Helena, Arkansas, Jonesboro. That's them.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you for giving me this time today. I appreciate being able to talk about Memphis and talk about where we're going and the state of the facility. And I hope you'll have me back again. We are going to start our monthly stakeholder meetings, our town hall meetings. And we have invited VBA to come. Ms. Edna will be talking to you here shortly. We have invited them to come because it turns out that most of our town halls that we hold with the public have to do with veteran benefits claims. So we've invited them, and they've graciously agreed to come and to look at the individual cases and to speak for us. And we will start that at the Pat D. Thompson Center out near Millington, across from the base there. And we hope that we're going to have a good turnout. We did check our population plat, and it turns out that the majority of our veterans who are enrolled in our system are in that Tipton County, Millington area. So that's why we chose that particular area to hold it first. Then we'll be having monthly meetings thereafter. And it'll be more or less listening sessions to where we make some introductory remarks, and then we listen to the concerns of the veterans. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much for having me.
Dr. Knight, Michael, thank you so much for making the long trip here. We definitely want to have you back, and any information sharing is great. You can follow that through us if you'd like. And when you have all your town hall dates, we'd love to help distribute those as well.
Okay, great. I'll take advantage of that distribution. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you inviting me, Commissioner.
Thank you. Safe travels back. Thank you. Well, next on our agenda is no stranger. Director Edna MacDonald from the regional office has been in her position for some time, but she is in such high demand, she's either traveling to D.C. or other states. So, Director MacDonald, thank you for being with us today.
So, good afternoon. Thank you all for having me over. I did miss the last one. I was down in Montgomery in March, I believe, with your last quarterly. So it's great to be back. I gave you in the report that we send in, I included a section at the beginning that is just a lot of good information about what VBA nationally is doing. So I just want to refer you to take time to look at that. It really is, we are making progress in reducing the backlog. We've cut that more than in half nationally. We have already completed 1.2 million claims this year. We had a record-breaking year last year. So we've already topped that, and we still, as you know, are in our last month of the fiscal year. So we're excited. All of that means additional service, claims being done and claims being processed. But I wanted to concentrate a little bit more and bring it into just kind of Nashville regional office for our discussion this afternoon. So I just wanted to refer you that. I did want to say one other thing that I hope that you have begun to see. VBA just recently started doing automatic kind of service-connected death payments. Are you all familiar with seeing any of these? Good. It's pretty remarkable. I think we actually got to see a couple letters the other day. So an automatic, there was a veteran died August the 21st. The letter was dated August the 25th, paid month of death, paid the burial, and paid DIC, an established DIC. So those, if the spouse is on it 100%, a lot of those that are automatic, they passed a regulation to remove that requirement for those folks to even have to fill out the application. So I'm very excited. Hopefully your constituents will know that's there, or your folks you represent. Just a couple of information. Nashville Regional Office, we have also, like Dr. Knight, have been excited to be doing some hiring at Nashville. We are up to 435. Our ceiling is 494. So we are heavily recruiting for right now for permanent additional veteran service representatives, claims processors, as well as our phone representatives. So we are still actively trying to get that up to our 494. I did want you to know we are 60% of our staff are veterans themselves. So we're excited about that. That helps us, as you know, just stay focused with the mission. You know, because you serve the same state of Tennessee, so you know the people that we serve here, the amount of benefits that we pay. Also, though, you know that Nashville has been heavily involved in supporting the nation in brokering in claims. You know, last year we brokered thousands of claims in. This past quarter, we continue to support whatever they need, but this past quarter, it has been reduced to just a little less than 1,000 that we've actually brokered in, which is exciting for all of us in the room because then we focus our capacity on Tennessee veterans on our own cases. So we are excited to be tackling that workload again seriously. I want to introduce with you, I brought Melinda Sargent. She just joined our leadership team yesterday. She is our new vocational rehabilitation and employment officer. And she came to us from DC, had some field experience as a vocational rehabilitation officer in the field prior to that. And so we want to welcome her. If you have any questions, we'll hope that you can meet her. And please bring your voc rehab questions to us. Wanted to let you know we've been down some leadership positions lately. We are also bringing on Michael Casey as will be our support services chief. He is coming on board in October. So we'll be excited to be staffed again. We also have, interestingly, been one of 6 regional offices that were given the ability to do some temporary hiring. And we were given authority to hire some temporary veteran service representatives and claims assistants that will be focused nationally on some of those non-rating adjustments and things that we all care about, or workload that we have. We have 12 on board so far, 12 VSRs and 1 claims assistant. We're still recruiting for a few more. And so we're beginning, they've just recently come on board and we're beginning to train them now. So we're excited about that as well. And that I already told you about recruiting. These are just some stats. Nashville, just like the nation, we've done more this year already, completed claims than we've done in the past 3 years. We just keep going up, over 32,000 this year. I wanted to point out that we've also done over 12,000 non-rating adjustments. So when you hear that, we are still got people focused on that work, even though we're still not bringing that inventory down as clearly as we would like to. I wanted to jump down the bottom bullet on there, though, is something I do want to alert you to. One of the concerns that I heard from VSOs specifically and from some congressional folks is the backlog that we had in cases where we had established service connection, but they were military retirees. And so we had to go to DFAS to get the information from DFAS before we could pay the retroactive payments. We had an inventory of those, and we did a special project. Our non-rating team got together, and we talked about that and decided that was clearly an area we wanted to focus on. And they tackled that workload, and our goal is to, we got it down to nothing pending more than 60 days from when DFAS came back to us. That was huge for us. Some of you may know you had a few that had been pending out there a while. So we are maintaining that 60-day mark, considering that an inventory. So if you have anything that falls, your cursive cursive adjustments, where a veteran was granted something but we haven't paid that retro due to retired pay, please raise that to our service center because we want to tackle that. We're trying to keep abreast of those and keep current. Another area that's always concerning, I wanted to let you know that in Nashville we are still also focused on appeals, and we have been able to reduce our total appeals inventory by 16% from the high that it reached last year. So we still have an inventory, and some of them are still old, as you know, but we are still trying to attack all the different work that we have. Fully developed claims, we have completed more than ever, about twice as many as last year. Most of those were still Tennessee vets. We did have some of our brokered work that were fully developed claims, so there are some in there, but the majority of that are still Tennessee fully developed claims. We are still timeliness of fully developed claims. We are still struggling to get where we want it to be. Overall, our average timeliness, I think, is still around 110 days average pending. are completed, because we're working on the older ones, is a little higher than that. So we are still focused on that workload. Our Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment Division, just so that you're aware, we have already assisted 128 veterans this year in obtaining suitable employment. We service about 3,400 participants in our VRE program at any time. Also, we have, as you know, the Vet Success on Campus program at Middle Tennessee State University in Austin Peay. Wanted to make you aware, our counselor at Middle Tennessee State received the recognition of VBA's Veterans VSOC Employee of the Year. So was recognized by Central Office nationally for her work, and largely because she started pioneering a mentoring program there for veteran students that's been very successful, and that did represent what Mr. Coy and some of the leadership is looking for all of the VSOC programs to do.
And that's Heather, is that
Heather
right?
Conrad, yes.
Yvette Martinez and I just met her last Friday. She is obviously loving what she's doing there, and she's highly enthusiastic. So I'm very proud of her, but I'm not surprised.
Good. She is truly one of those people that you say it's the right person in the right job. Loves what she did. We used her extensively to teach our person, Tim, that's out at Austin Peay. And nationally, Central Office is beginning to tap into her to help with some training nationally. So we're excited about that. So if you have any issues there, veteran students that you talk to, please make sure that they're aware of the services there in the Military Service Center. IDES program, our Vocational Rehabilitation Division, we have 9 folks now. We were staffed up to work with IDES up at Fort Campbell. They have about 540 service members that we're working with there in Fort Campbell. They are actively involved in all the briefings that go on there in the MEB board, as well as the Warrior Transition Unit. We're still paired up with them, trying to make sure that that transition for our service members is improved. And nationally, I don't know if you know, but they have also increased staffing at Seattle, who processes Fort Campbell's IDES claims. That inventory is dropping significantly, so you should be seeing some improved timeliness of IDES claims as well in Fort Campbell. Our call center, just quickly, obviously we take a lot of calls. I wanted to focus on, you know, that we do the VSO line, the 800 VSO line. We do that here in Nashville, you know, so if any of you call, you're talking to our folks. We so far have answered over about 83,000 calls from VSOs, so we're excited about that. Your wait time is about 3 minutes on average, a little better than the nation. We are looking nationally, working with them. They want to expand the hours to at least get it to the 5:30 p.m. Central Time, so add an hour and a half. We're working to be able to do that. I'm not exactly sure when that's going to take effect. Like I said before, we're hiring in our call center as well. Another thing that we're getting ready to start, that hopefully you've heard promoted a little bit, is we're going to start a live chat for VSOs and for veterans. We will, in Nashville, we will be doing the live chat with VSOs. So our folks who also do the VSO line will be fielding that chat. So we've had some national training. We've been practicing, and that's going to go live next week, September the 15th. Now, at the beginning, it's just kind of general benefits questions, so we'll answer those. I think they're still working on all the accreditation part to make sure that we know exactly who we're chatting with before we could go to claim-specific information. So we will start with that. So please, if you like to chat at all, try that out. Use that. Our Salt Lake City call center is actually going to begin to do live chat with veterans regarding e-benefits issues. And so those will be kind of general questions also at the beginning. They will also kick off next week, the 15th. So you can tell your folks, veterans that you serve, if they a lot of people like to chat. They can do other things while they're doing it, get their question answered. So please have them contact us to try all that out. We'll see how it goes. We also added 10 more PCRs in our call center, public contact representatives that can help do remote proofing. So hopefully that'll reduce any wait times that we had there. We, like Memphis, we have recommitted. Our whole staff actually took the eye care. We made posters out of it, and we made posters of all the values themselves. And then each of our teams took those posters and personalized them to themselves. They either came up with a team motto or phrase or something else that they wanted to add to that. And we had signing sessions where we all as groups signed those posters, and we have them posted all over our service center. For those that were able to come to the town hall, we used them at our town hall just to send a message that we are focused. We're recommitting to all of that. For anybody that wasn't committed, we're reaffirming that commitment. We truly care. I need you all to help me always to continue to listen. So concerns, you raise them to me. Get your veterans to raise them to me. I do want to hear what's going on. Our town hall that we had, the 29th, a few of you were there. You'll know the attendance was much less than we had hoped for veterans. So we also had a brainstorming session after that to say, how do we do a better job? If we have another one, how do we, location, change of venue, advertising, what are all the things we need to do to have another potential listening session? So that's what we're planning in the future. You did hear, I'm going to go down to Memphis next week for their town hall to also hear from veterans in that side of the state. Questions you have for me?
Something we don't know a lot about because it's a fairly new phenomenon, this idea of veterans service, veterans on campus, VSOC. Tell us a little bit more. You mentioned Middle Tennessee and you mentioned Austin P. How about all the other campuses? UT Knoxville, East Tennessee, Memphis, are they all involved or not?
So it's interesting. Our central office helps choose where. Middle Tennessee was chosen initially. They are looking at veteran student population that go and interest and willingness of the university, I think, to partner. So Middle Tennessee went first for us before I got there, so I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, started that program. They were one of the first in the nation, maybe 10 in the nation. We expanded last year nationally to add, taxing my memory, but I think about 25 to 30 nationwide universities. And they picked Austin P. It's another one. Austin P will tell you they have a higher veteran population than Middle Tennessee State, right, when we worked with them, especially with being at Fort Campbell. So that's why those two were chosen first. It's actually veteran student population. The whole idea is very much to focus on helping ensure that our veterans not only get education, and so it's not just going through Chapter 31, but now with the post-GI Bill, as they're going through their education, that they have support groups, that they have people that care, that they have people that work with them to make sure that they graduate, that they're successful in their education endeavors.
Do you see expanding to all these other campuses in our state, UT Knoxville?
You know what? I'm going to turn to Melinda, who just came from CO as my new VRN, to see if she knows any more than I do. No, you got to come up here and talk. She's actually up there where they make those decisions in central office.
At one point, I actually supervised the rollout for the program. But at the present time, there are no plans to conduct any further expansion for Vet Success on campus. However, that can change. And that's what we have to remember. But at the present time, they are taking a list. So all institutions that have interest just simply need to make notification to their regional office, and that information is passed on to central office so they can be added to that list of interested institutions.
You're welcome. Austin P was actually one who I think had expressed interest the first go around, and were really wanting to, so they kept pressing it on their side as well. Other questions?
I don't have a question. I got a statement.
Okay.
Yeah, due to the fact that lots of my veterans in my area don't have computers and won't use e-benefits, your call center is fantastic. My normal wait time is 3 minutes or less.
Good, good.
And your other competitors out in other states that I have to call can take examples from your call center.
Well,
it's fantastic.
Thank you very much. We are in the process right now. We've been without a call center manager for a few months. That a new one has been named, and I'm hopeful we'll be on board in about a month, and comes with some call center experience. So we're excited to even just take it to the next level. But thank you.
Has there been any change in the way that e-benefits is going about remote proofing veterans? Because I've been taking guys in my office off the street, sitting down and getting them a level 2 log on without them ever having to go meet anybody, using their credit reports. They're not having to go and make the trip to Nashville. Is that something that's changed, or?
They did a big push several months ago at least, if not a year, but at least several months ago, they did do a big push to say, how do we make it easier to make sure who we're dealing with to get that level of access, but how do we make it easier for veterans to do that? And so they got to where, I think it was when we rolled it out and we could do it on the phones as well, so we could remote proof on the phones. We also rolled that capability out to VSOs to help say, if you've got them sitting right there in front of you, let's make it a faster process. Good, good. Glad it works.
Director MacDonald, the new VA patient ID cards have a member ID. Does that cross-reference to anything in your system?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, well, you always know where you can get me, and don't hesitate. If you ever have issues you need resolved, please bring them to me. And thank you again for the opportunity.
Director MacDonald, thank you so very much for everything that you and your team do for veterans every single day. And I'll be seeing Undersecretary Allison Hicking next week. So she always has wonderful things to say about you. Good. Next up, someone else who is certainly not a stranger to anybody is Mary Ross. And the question is always, who is she representing today? And the answer to that is Operation Stand Down. Is your mic on?
Well, you can't hear my loud mic
I know.
mouth anyway.
Thank you.
Usually I don't need a mic. But anyway, we have purchased that building. So that is going to be our permanent home. We are in the beginning stages of our capital campaign. In fact, we've already met our first milestone, so that's like really, really exciting. But the other thing is that we have changed our name. And our name is not Operation Stand Down Nashville. It is Operation Stand Down Tennessee, because this allows us to actually expand our services, and we've been asked for many, many years to kind of expand this whole concept into other areas within the state, and we're going to do that. And in fact, I have a lease already signed for a facility in Clarksville. I should have a Veterans Service Center for Operation Stand Down Tennessee open in Clarksville by about mid-October is when I'm hoping to have all the pieces pulled together. We already have some staff who are working out of Clarksville. They're working with Workforce Essentials, and actually I have two. I have two working in Clarksville right now. So that's exciting, and then our next stop, of course, will be Murfreesboro in the Rutherford County area. So this is just some of the stats that we had from last year. We did serve over 1,700 individuals, unique individual veterans in our service center. One of the interesting things that we're seeing, and it's not on this slide, is that we are seeing a definite increase in the number of women veterans who are seeking services. And these are women veterans with families. And part of that is due to the fact that we were awarded that SFVF grant, which is allowing us to actually do some financial assistance to get them off the street while we work on some of the other issues. These are the 4 components of Operation Stand Down, if you're not aware. Of course, our Veteran Service Center. The one thing that we are really, really proud of in our Veteran Service Center is that the veteran comes into us, they are not entered into a program. We make the program to fit the veteran. So whatever issue they come in with, and even if they come in with just something as simple as needing some eyeglasses, we can, that's the simple stuff. But it can be as complicated as it wants, but we're designing the program around the veteran and not making the veteran fit the program. Well, our transitional housing program, which is another big exciting change, one that I'm really kind of excited about, is that we have 7 transitional homes. We have 4 for men and 3 for women. We have just changed one of our homes from a male house to a woman's house because we have a waiting list for homeless women veterans who are in need of services. We felt that this was necessary because the options for women veterans in the Nashville and the Middle Tennessee area is almost next to none. The options for homeless women is very, very critical in the state. Our next one, of course, is the biannual Stand Down event. This was a heartbreaking kind of decision that we had to make. Last year, we served 270 veterans at our Stand Down event. We had over 760 volunteers. The Stand Down event, unfortunately, had gotten to the point where we were serving volunteers and not serving our veterans. There are several things that add to that. One of them is the fact that our service center is providing all of the services that are available at the Stand Down event on a year-round basis, Monday through Friday. You can do that. We have a monthly legal clinic. We have medical clinics in the service center now, and we're always looking for ways to bring the services into the service center because we can better serve the veteran if we can keep them in one place and not try to send them across town somewhere. So we have opted to go to 2 one-day stand-down events. We had one in June where we served, I believe the number was 80 veterans. The good thing is that we were able to do that. The 80 veterans that we did serve were in great need. We are anticipating, of course, the fall one to serve more veterans, and we have a bigger location for the fall stand down event, and it is going to be scheduled for November 19th. The first planning meeting for the stand down event will be September 18th at 2:00 at our Veteran Service Center.
Could you please use your mic, John?
Would you go over that again now when you say biannual stand-down events?
We're having them twice a year.
That's semi-annual, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Biannual's every 2 years, and I thought you were going to
I will correct that.
Okay. Thank you.
No, it's twice a year, not every other year. I looked at that yesterday and thought, that doesn't look right.
And when you're talking about so many volunteers and not enough veterans, I thought, well, okay, I guess that's why.
No, that just doesn't look right. All right, and the other part of Stand Down that we have is, of course, our thrift store. And our 12th Avenue thrift store, I am pleased to announce, is actually making a profit. And that's paying salary, paying, the expenses, everything. So, this has been a little bit of a struggle, but we feel like it's been really worthwhile. And then one of the biggest reasons that we have stuck with having the thrift store is that it is providing active, current, positive work histories for veterans who have not been able to find employment and those that have been overcoming challenges to employment. We have been able to put them to work earning a minimum wage, and while they're working, we are still working with them actively on trying to overcome some of the obstacles that they have. They can also put this on their resume as a recent positive work history, and it has been very successful. I think we've got about an 80% success rate of the veterans that we have employed through our thrift store. And we're actually actively looking for other opportunities where we can actually create some compensated work therapy in-house. These are some of the services. This is just a short list, actually, of services that are provided at the Veteran Service Center because, like I said, when the veteran comes in, we're going to design the program around the veteran. And one of the things that we're really incorporating throughout the building is action plans. Because this is not our issue. This is the veteran's issue. We cannot solve their problems for them. What we are here to do is to make sure that they have the tools to solve the problem themselves. Whatever issue they have, we want to make sure that they are empowered to do it themselves and not just have them have a handout. It's not about having a handout. Our transitional housing program, again, we have the 7 houses. It is a structured environment. We're currently running about a 65% success rate. We've actually had 3 veterans over the last 6 months who have been able to purchase their own home, coming out of our transitional housing program and going into their own home. That's pretty cool. It doesn't get much better than that. And of course, this twice a year stand-down event. Wait till I tell Bill Burley. And again, the participating organizations, there is just no way that we could do our day-to-day mission without the multitude of organizations that have supported us all of these years, and the veteran service organizations that have supported us all these years. There's just no way we could do it. And I don't know if you've been in our thrift store lately, but we have some pretty neat stuff. If I can keep my staff out of there. This is just an overview of where we are now. We have 29 board members. We have 34. Actually, that 34 is incorrect. We have 37 staff members. Our veteran rate is about 85% as of today. And we'll just pass right on by that one. No, I don't. And these are a few of the ways that you can help. You know, we have a tremendous amount of expertise within our veteran community. And if you have some expertise that you would like to share with us, we would be more than happy to put you on our calendar for our employment classes, for our life skill classes, for any of those. So just let us know. And of course, you can connect with us and spread the word and help us continue to grow so that we can serve more and more veterans within the state of Tennessee. Are there any questions, please?
George was first. John.
George beat you.
It's okay, Mary. You mentioned the November 19th Operation Stand Down event.
Mm-hmm.
There's a larger venue you're going to move it to.
We're going to move it to the Greater Bethel AME Church, which is located at the corner of South Street and 12th Avenue South Street. It's just down the road from us.
Mary, this new title of Operation Stand Down Tennessee, is the vision to go Knoxville, Chattanooga, Memphis? Is that the vision eventually?
That is the vision. Yes.
Okay.
To have regional offices, you know, like we'd have West Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, East Tennessee, but actually they would all eventually come up under this umbrella. Right now, we have some other organizations across the state that are serving veterans and serving them well, and you know, sometimes kind of like the veteran service organizations. We're all serving the same population of people. And if we join forces, we're so much better and so much stronger if we can join forces than if we try to do it individually in little pockets.
Mary, question or comment we hear a lot is homeless doesn't really mean homeless. What's the working definition that y'all have to go with?
The McKinney-Vito Act is the definition of homelessness that we have to use, and it is a very convoluted, very confusing document that's about a page long that describes, well, if that happens, if this happens, they're not considered homeless. And I kind of think that the definition was changed to decrease the numbers of homeless veterans that you see. What we work on primarily is two basic things: is do you have a regular and fixed place to live that is made for human habitation? Cardboard boxes are not made for human habitation. Vehicles are not made for human habitation. And are you at risk of being homeless? If we can prove the risk, then we can count them as being homeless. The other thing that I would also like to point out is that we are not just about the homeless. Any veteran who walks into our service center, they don't. I really kind of dislike the idea of thinking that all veterans are broken, because we're not. I mean, we all have our issues, but we're not all broken. But any veteran who comes into our service center, if they have lost their job and just want some help with the job search, or they want to redo their resume or whatever, they can come into our service center. We can provide that service, because we have diversified the funding to where we do not have to go strictly by the grants.
Well, Mary, I want to congratulate Operation Stand Down's resounding success, and especially what that means to Tennessee veterans. It's amazing. I know that you folks have changed a lot of lives and continue to do so. So appreciate hearing your report today.
Okay, thank you very much. One of the things that, we talk about it all the time at work is that church happens in our house every day. There are miracles that happen every day in Operation Stand Down. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. Well, I've got a whole list of things that I want to update you on, and we'll go through these rather quickly, but if I get going too fast, please stop me if you have a question or comment. But this year, Tennessee is very privileged to host the Congressional Medal of Honor Society convention in Knoxville, Tennessee. Those Congressional Medal of Honor recipients are arriving today, and I'll be joining them tomorrow. I know Barry Rice is already over there, but again, this is a fantastic opportunity, and there are some events that are open to the public where they just want the public to come out and express their deep appreciation and honor of this very select group of people. And there are recipients from World War II to present that will be there. So I know that part of their charge is to go to visit schools and educate our youth about the fact that all of you know that freedom is not free, and that it is paid for with the blood and sacrifice of the men and women that are willing to serve. So it is with great honor that that we bring these folks to Tennessee. Yes, John.
Seemed to be a jack in a box today, but at one time there were 5 living Tennesseans, And I'm not sure of the number now. Is it 1 or 2? Medal of Honor
It's more than that. In fact, Tara just ran for me the full list of Tennesseans, but I'm not sure how many of those are living.
Gentleman, Chattanooga comes to mind. I can't pull the name right out, but so there's several. You're saying? Still
Yes,
living?
there are.
Okay,
There
thank
are.
you.
And at this event, I know family members of Alvin C. York will be in attendance as well. Another, I guess, almost miracle happened this year when World War II veteran PFC Cecil Harris, his remains were finally identified and he was returned. We had his funeral in Chattanooga on the 29th of August. His burial will be on 22nd of October in Arlington. He was missing for almost 70 years, and his former spouse still living. And to see her was both a heartbreak and a joy. She asked every single year, have you found my husband yet? Have you found him yet? Even though she remarried later on. And it was, I know, a very bittersweet event for her, but he will be finally laid to rest. His only child was very young when he went off to war. In fact, when he was leaving at the train station, he told his wife, I don't think I'll be coming back. So, we all serve folks like this every day that their future was unknown when they decided to raise their right hand, and they took the oath anyway. So this was, again, quite a miracle that he came home after all this time. He was discovered by French nationals when they found a makeshift grave. It was a cross that had an H on it. So quite a story, and it is there on our website, and I encourage you, if you haven't read it, to please read that. I also want to let you know that we have 3 new field offices. The one in Sevierville has been operating for several months now. It's co-located with the CBOC there in Sevierville. We already have occupied our Smyrna office. It's not fully operational, and that is very easy off the interstate, easy to find. That's going to be office shared with our training division. And in Cookeville, we've been co-located with the Department of Labor, but Sarah had been working a couple days a week over at the CBOC, and because of the influx of clients that she was serving there, she's going to be moving over there full time. Very small office, but much more accommodating for our veterans. I want you all to know that September is Suicide Prevention Month. And sadly, the number of veteran suicides continues to increase. It increased by about 15 from 2012 to 2013. And we are working with the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services to see if there's anything that we can do to reduce the number of veteran suicides in Tennessee, to help identify those at risk, get them the services that they need early, train their family members so that they can recognize help before it gets too late. So this is one war that we must win, and it really is going to take everybody in the community to work together to make sure that that happens. I also want to let you know that this last month, Governor Haslam was the very first sitting governor to visit one of our Tennessee state veterans homes. He was mayor in Knoxville when the home over there opened up. And so it was very fitting that that was the home that he went to visit. The residents were just thrilled to see him, but we were also able to give him a briefing about how far our homes had come. From the dark days that many of you remember less than 10 years ago to now, where they are, we have 2 that are 5-star rated and also rated best of the best by U.S. News and World Report. Our 3rd home is right on the heels of achieving the same. They've actually met the criteria, but just need to make room for them. So to have our governor take time to visit our residents was a very special day, really both for the governor and for the residents. The governor also participated in another great event, and that was in West Tennessee at mile marker 108, at the junction of Highway 22 and I-40. He made the formal announcement of the future home of the Tennessee State Veterans Cemetery at Parker's Crossroads. And, of course, what Yvette is showing you up there is from our website. Just a reminder, please visit our website, www.tn.gov/veteran. Visit it often. I know on the day before Cecil Harris's funeral, I got a call from, I won't mention any names, but a member of at least 4 of your organizations and a president of one called me to say, where do I get the information about the funeral? I know it's happening, but what time? Where is it? Again, www.tn.gov/veteran. And that is going to be your great resource for information. It'll also link you over to our Facebook page that has other events that we are not hosting but are veteran related. But so you see up there the wonderful sign announcing the cemetery. I will not even attempt to give you a timeline right now because, as you know, with the federal budget and right now with the emphasis on veterans' access to health care and reducing the backlog, I know the cemetery funding right now is secure, but I don't know how long that will remain the case. So, and then we have our state budget as well. But we're moving forward. We are already looking at designs. We're putting our application process has already gone forward. So we hope that in the not too distant future we will have a cemetery to close that gap between Memphis and Nashville. And of course, our steering committee in the Upper Cumberland area in East Tennessee continues to do its work to help to locate a suitable site in that area as well. Paychecks for Patriots. This is the third annual, and again, this is one day, 10 locations, and over 1,000 jobs. The day is October 9th. It is from 10 to 2 o'clock in 10 locations across the state. And, of course, we're all, my department is represented at each of these locations in case anyone wants to file a claim. But this is where we have employers with jobs ready to fill with veterans on the spot. And typically they have had a great success rate in hooking these veterans up with these prospective employers. So that'll be a great day. The one in Nashville is going to be at LP Field and again throughout the state. So please make sure that your memberships are aware of all of that. You have heard of the veterans outreaches that my department hosts, and we're very fortunate to have our U.S. VA partners participate in that as well. And the dates for the rest of calendar year 2014, September 24th is Sevierville, October 29th is in Cleveland, November 5th is in Knoxville. Next year, we're going to be focusing more on our urban areas. We did, make an attempt this year to do multi-county rural areas, and we will be doing that again in the future. But this next year, our focus is urban while we get some of our plans worked out. But now, these outreach events, we're not only there to assist with claims, but we also have invited our education institutions, and that's both colleges, universities, technical schools. We hook our veterans up with business resources. Our sister agencies are there not only with jobs available for our veterans, but when the mobile unit for Department of Safety is here, they'll be able to give driving tests and give those CDLs for veterans that have been truck drivers in the past. So again, that's going to be, these are events that are growing. We have fewer in number because they are so resource intensive, and we want them to be a very meaningful event for our veterans. So again, if you don't have the dates, visit that website and you'll be able to see what's coming up here and in the future as well. Our Service Officer Training Session, also known as SOTS. We have our 64th annual coming up, and that is October 6th through 8th. We are mandated by Tennessee Code Annotated to train our county service officers. And of course, we also train our my employees there as well. But we have always invited the veteran service organizations to send individuals as well. And that has grown over the last several years, and we're glad of that because that means that more veterans will be receiving updated current information. But I'm going to ask if any of you have the ability to consider sponsoring any part of that training session. And a couple of the organizations here have already been very generous with their intentions. And I'm hoping that we don't have to, but if this growth continues, we may have to start charging a registration fee in the future, because what's happened is our meeting space the requirement has grown, the number of handouts, the audio visual, everything has grown, and of course all that costs money, not to mention that we do try to give them plenty of coffee to keep them awake throughout the day, and a few refreshments to get that sugar in the blood as well. So again, if you'd like to send anybody, please, is it too late to add anybody, Yvette? Probably is.
Yes, ma'am. Registrations have closed, but if there is one or two additional individuals, just please let us know as soon as possible so that we can make our adjustments quickly.
Yes, thank you very much. And we're going to do something different this year. We've always had our regional office invited to speak, and usually Juan Morales is there to talk about Middle Tennessee. But realizing that our folks and the counties and the VSOs serve the entire state, we're going to have a directors forum this year. So we are going to have representatives from all of the medical centers as well as the regional office. I know this is something that we've heard not only in SOTS but also our Women Veteran Summit is, yes, we love Juan Morales, but we've got questions for Memphis and we've got questions for Charlene Arrett. So I think that's going to be I know it's a presentation that I'm very much looking forward to. Next is our TDVA reorganization. And last session, I introduced you to our two employees. I think that was their second day on the job. Amanda and Justin are here again today. But we have another new employee, and this is actually her 6th day on the job, if I'm counting correctly. So Stacy Scruggs, would you please stand? Stacy is our constituent services representative. And so now we have one person of course, backup of Justin. But as inquiries come in, either from veterans, from legislators, from you as well, we have someone that can log them, track them, make sure that the loop is closed with the veteran. And so very happy that Stacy has joined our group. And all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is part of our TDVA reorganization. These folks that you have met that are new to the team, these are not additional bodies. They're new people. They're 2 of the 3 are new jobs. But we have done that through reclassification. And another part of this reorganization is we have redrawn our state boundaries. So Don Smith has all of East Tennessee, and Mark Brees has all of West Tennessee. So there's no longer Middle Tennessee region. So Mark picked up Murfreesboro, Nashville, and now Smyrna. And Don has picked up Chattanooga. So again, forget that. You can go to our website and you'll see the map redrawn, and that's going to allow Wendell time to get caught up on the things as being a deputy. Another thing that we're going to be adding, thank you, Stacy, we are going to have, again, through reorganization, our very own first ever IT person. And this person will not be working on hardware, but actually business solutions. So all these DD214s that we've been scanning and we haven't been able to do anything with, we're going to be able to actually sort them, search, and hopefully provide you with more data than we have been able to in the past. So look forward to more news about that. Faces of Valor, we had a wonderful ceremony at Bicentennial Mall when the traveling wall was here. And unfortunately, it was a very rainy day. And by the time Senator Green got to the part where he's talking about the Faces of Valor, the sound system went, the bottom fell out. So I did want to let all of you know that there is a large project that was kicked off that day, and it's called Faces of Valor. And what this is, they're trying to collect photographs of all the Vietnam fallen. And that is going to be part of a new museum that's going to be across from the wall in Washington, D.C. If you can help put out through your members any photographs that anyone may have of Tennessee fallen, or really of anyone that's on the wall, they're trying to collect these. They're being collected through the website vvmf.org, and that's VVMF as in Vietnam Veteran Memorial Foundation. And as you can well imagine, even though we had a Tennessean whose name was on the wall, their only family may now be in other states. So even though we're putting that out here, even if you have a photograph of a Vietnam veteran that was from another state, they would still like to collect those. And so there's the website as you can see it, and it's going to be quite a project. The wall brought to mind that these are not just numbers, they're real people, and seeing those over 58,000 names is a visual reminder that these are people. But now when you see the photographs, then it really becomes a reality that this is somebody's father, son, husband, sister that gave their life during Vietnam. So that will give, again, it's another part of teaching our youth, someplace where families can go and know that their loved one is not going to be forgotten. They will always be honored. I also want to give you a quick update on our Veteran Treatment Court and courts and the Mentor Boot Camp. The Veteran Treatment Courts, we currently have 4 that are in operation. Of course, that's Shelby County, Montgomery County, Davidson County, which has always had, not always, but for a long time has had a docket, is now becoming what I call a full-service veteran treatment court. And Knox County has recently stood one up. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to go to their very first graduation. One of their 3 veterans is going to graduate tomorrow, so very excited about that. My executive staff has been meeting one-on-one with judges in their areas to encourage creation of new veteran treatment courts throughout the state. And I think I told you last time that Mark and Don and I visited with the judicial conference in Gatlinburg, again, trying to encourage these. So we think we have 4 more that will be popping up before too long. And probably the most important part of the success of Veteran Treatment Court is the veteran mentors. And they had held a veteran treatment, a mentor boot camp in D.C. in December, but they started exporting their training, and they came to Tennessee. And of all the places that they had taken their training, this was the largest group. We exceeded the space that was available. We graduated 67 mentors in Tennessee. That really shows the desire of our veterans to continue to serve, and it shows the commitment of those folks to spend time to help the veterans going through the program to succeed. And again, those mentors are critical to the success of those veterans going through. I also want to ask your assistance. We had contacted our county service officers in trying to identify the state's oldest male and female veterans. I went to a birthday party a couple months ago, and I had the best job. I think you know that. But Jason Snyder turned 104 up in Johnson City. And he might be the state's oldest male, but we'd kind of like to identify the oldest really in each region or in each county, because obviously, Jason's not going to be with us forever. So then we'd like to know who is the next oldest. What I think might be our state's oldest female veteran is Lida Speck, and went to her birthday party last year, and she attended our Women Veterans Summit in April. But please, if you guys can share with us the folks that you know within your organizations are the oldest male and female members, because we would like to be able to recognize them appropriately, either on their birthday or on our website. And again, don't want to violate any confidentiality agreements, but we would just like to be able that we can not only recognize them, but hear their stories. Their stories need to be heard, they need to be told, and they need to be shared. Yvette?
What we will do is when we send out that survey, it's a survey. There's a link that we'll email out to our county service officers. When we send that email out, we'll send it out to our UTVA distribution list as well. It's a link. You open it up. It opens up to a very easy form to just fill out with the name, their date of birth, their location, their phone number. So that way we can call and find out if there's going to be any milestone celebrations for that veteran. And so you'll receive that. Please don't email those to me. My inbox has nearly 5,000 emails, and it will get lost. And so we like to keep it all together in this one survey form, and that holds all of that data for us without it getting lost in my inbox, okay?
Thank you. And in fact, the oldest World War I veteran, when he passed away, and oh God, is it Painter? Mr. Painter, the picture that's on our wall in our office was taken when he was 110. I think he was 112 when he passed. But he was not just Tennessee's oldest, he was the nation's oldest. So to be able to identify and photograph and chronicle these very special veterans, I think would be just great. So if you can help us with that, really appreciate it. Again, I just want to remind you that our website has not only all this information about events and special veterans, a page for women veterans, it's got our training page, but it's got our UTVA page as well. On that UTVA page has meeting minutes. You can archive, you can pull up the meeting if you want to remember what we talked about in March, or if you remember that we talked about PTSD on a certain month and you want to share that with your members, and gosh, you need to share this with your members, please either direct them to our website where they can pull up the archives, and again, for them to be able to hear Director MacDonald and Director Knight in today's briefing, that is powerful. So if you're keeping this information to yourself, then shame on you. Seriously, shame on you. But you can pull up dates for your future meetings, minutes for the past meetings. You can actually see the archive recordings. So please go to these websites, and if you haven't got the message, I really want you to share that. One final thing, Saturday, I'll be attending our NASBA conference. That's the conference of all of my peers. And so I'll be there. And then next month, end of October, I'll be attending the Advisory Committee on Minority Veterans at USVA in D.C. So if you have minority veterans that either want to talk about problems they've had with either quality of care or access, I would love to hear their concerns and be able to take those forward. Are there any questions or comments of anything that I've covered? Yes, John?
Commissioner, who is your VBR at Sevierville and Smyrna?
Sevierville is Tim Williams, and they have a brand new county service officer there too, because he was a VBR, and Sevier County just picked him up, and that is Lorenza Wills. Thank you. And in Smyrna is Lee Orman. Lee used to be in Murfreesboro, and so Lee is in Smyrna now. And we still have our office running in the Murfreesboro Medical Center, and Ginger is there, Ginger Dempsey.
Commissioner, I also wanted to remind all of our members that reports received prior to today have already been posted. Reports received today will be posted tomorrow, and the presentations will be posted tomorrow from today. I'll fix the semi-annual thing. And easy fix. And so we'll get those posted as quickly as tomorrow, so please visit back if you want to pass those on to your members, and then we'll get the video posted as well. That comes in DVD form, so that takes us a few days to get posted, but it will be posted per what Commissioner has already briefed you on.
And in addition to the briefings that have been given, of course, all those reports are included. So as you know, Director Knight, Director MacDonald, they didn't talk about everything in the report because they didn't have to. It was already included there. But these are things that, again, you should be sharing with your membership, and I highly encourage you to do so. Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Commissioner,
Yes, George.
If this is on the website, you can disregard. I can get it off the website, but I'd like to know the dates that the governor visited Tennessee Veterans Home and the announcement of the state cemetery.
Okay.
I'll get it off the website if it's on there.
I know the cemetery was.
The cemetery announcement
Probably
is
not
on the
the visit.
website. It's on our homepage. So the cemetery date is on the website. The governor's visit was August 19th. That is not on the website because it wasn't a media event, but it was August 19th that he went.
And we remember that date because that was Yvette's birthday.
It took me a second.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, George. Anybody else? Okay, Deputy Commissioner Wendell Cheek, what have you got for us?
Thank you, Commissioner. As everyone knows, this administration, as well as each department, strives to be more efficient and more effective. That's not any different to for our department. So when we take a look at our cemeteries, we want to operate those in the most effective and efficient manner. One way to do that, and we've talked about this on several occasions, we've talked about crypts and columbariums. But I also realize that not everyone understands really what crypts and columbariums are. And since we started this program some 3.5 years ago, soon to be 4 years, we've applied for 9 different federal grants for the department, all for our cemeteries, 2 of which have been awarded and completed. And each year we've asked that those grants, when they're not awarded, they be deferred to the next year. So on the books now, we have several grants that we've applied for, and 2 of which deal with the Memphis and the Nashville cemeteries, where we're asking for the placement of crypts, columbariums, kiosk, and irrigation systems. Well, the crypts, what they are is it's a 3x8 double-depth concrete container. The only cemetery I know of right now, at least, that's recently put crypts in place is in Chattanooga, the National Cemetery there. And you can put approximately, depending on the lay of the land, approximately 1,200 crypts per acre. Also, another efficient use is columbariums. And a columbarium is actually an above-ground structure designed for the interment of cremated remains. Usually they are no more than 4 or 5 niches high. And a niche is 10.5 by 15 by 20 inches is the size of those niches. And the urns that house the cremated remains are put behind those niches. Like I said, they're 4 to 5 niches high, and they can be as long as they need to be in length, depending on the topography or the lay of the land. So we've requested crypts and columbariums for Memphis and Nashville cemeteries. Actually, we've requested 6,740 crypts for Memphis, 3,680 for Nashville, 890 niches that will fit in the columbariums for Memphis, and 650 for the Nashville cemetery. What this will do, this will enable us to inter within the crypts and within the niches for the next 10 years without requiring any additional space in those cemeteries. So it's a very efficient manner in which to inter our veterans and their eligible family members. So I just wanted to pass that along. Hopefully next month will be usually October. We receive award letters from the Veterans Grants Administration, and hopefully in the next meeting I'll be talking to you about the award of those grants. So just wanted to let you know about that. Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Wendell also wanted to let all the members know, if you want to know what a columbarium looks like, we do have those at our East Tennessee State Veteran Cemetery on John Sevier. And to get a look at what the columbariums look like, as well as the kiosks, which help you to easily, at any time, go in there, punch in the name of a veteran you're looking for, or spouse that you're looking for, and it'll let you know where you can find them within that cemetery. And so That's our newest cemetery and has many of the new features that Wendell was talking about.
Thank you, Yvette. That's exactly right. And also, if you have access to the internet and you know just a little bit about the veteran or the spouse that is interred, you can actually utilize the National Gravesite Locator from any computer where you have access to the internet and find the location of those loved ones or friends. Thank you.
Also want to remind you on our website, the cemeteries page, you can go to any one of the cemeteries for online pre-registration. If after the time of death, it's a very chaotic, stressful time, maybe very difficult to find those discharge papers. So by doing it in advance, it's just a lot better process, and it's a lot easier on the family. And we talked about our new cemeteries that are in the future, but once you get pre-qualified for any of them, then that will be good for any of our cemeteries. So again, another great feature on our website that we would just love to have you share with your membership. And also to note, when Wendell was talking about the columbariums, the number of cremations increases every single year. And the culture is changing on that. Part of that is economy driven, but this is really becoming a choice for families that we want to be able to accommodate. Any questions or comments for Wendell? If not, Roger, what have you got?
Quick summary for last year, we did in claims office, we had 415 hearings scheduled. That would cover travel board videos and locals. We covered 316, which was 814 issues that we worked on during those hearings. For FY15, tentatively, we have 8 videos, which will be 1 a month for 8 months, and then 4 of those months, the rest of the year, we'll have travel boards currently scheduled. Our next video is the 22nd through the 26th of September, and then November will be our first travel board for FY15, the federal FY15. We're currently waiting and hoping we can get Memphis and Knoxville vet centers approved to have video conferences. Once we do that, we'll be able to help some of the vets keep them from traveling so far for the travel boards. I mean, not travel, videos and local hearings. Thank you.
Any questions or comments for Roger? Okay, before we get into announcements, is there any new business? Hearing none, I want to please remind you our next meeting will be Tuesday, December 2nd. It will be at 1 o'clock, very likely in this room. But again, we'll be sending email out to remind you, and if not, you know where to go on our website to find that information. I know in between now and our December meeting is, of course, John had already mentioned the Patriots Day and POW Day. We also have Veterans Day that's coming up, and I know your organizations, as we are already heavy into the planning for Veterans Day, want to remind you that you can post information on our Facebook page. And a lot of times folks ask us, you know, oh, where's this happening or what's going on in my area? But we only have that if it's shared with us. So if you would please share that information. A link is preferred. And just make sure that whatever you give us a link to is current and that it has all the details. Because if they ask us for more information, we probably won't have it. Okay. So announcements. I think Fred, did you have an announcement? Would you come to the mic, please?
Hello?
Is your mic on?
Is it on now?
Sounds good.
I'm Fred Poe. I'm from Post 88, American Legion. And anytime a Legionnaire does good, they need to be recognized. My friend and your friend, James Patterson, right over here, has been elected Legionnaire of the Year across the state. And anybody that knows James knows how busy he stays. He's out building ramps for veterans that need ramps to get in the house. He gets food and shelters for those who need temporary help. Now, this is just some of the spots. I got a whole page here, but I'm going to read you a paragraph. Okay? He does a flag ceremony at funerals. He is the service officer for Columbia. I can keep going, but y'all want to go home. But I want to tell you, this man, don't follow him, because he will wear you out running and doing things. Now, several people in here has done things great before, but I want to recognize him today. Thank y'all.
Congratulations, James. Well deserved. In fact, I was there on James Patterson Day in Murray County, so. And George, I think you had an announcement.
Yeah, I'm representing Curtis Russ, our state commander for AMVETS. September 20th at the Murfreesboro VA campus, the hospital down there, our Veteran Affairs, Volunteer Services, our VAVS department is having a cookout and a fundraiser. And also, the state commander wants to announce that our state executive council will be meeting in Newport, Tennessee, October 17th, 18th, at the Super 8 Hotel in Newport. And that's about it for right now. Thanks.
Thank you, George. Anybody else have an announcement that was not included in your report? Okay, Frank?
Yeah, I will refer you to our DAV report that I did submit, and you have copies passed out today, which shows the DAV activity for the months of May, June, and July at our Nashville NSO office and at NSOs and HSCs across the state. Also, we did have a convention the latter part of June and elected Johnny C. Carver as the new commander for the VAV, Department of Tennessee, and the auxiliary elected Cynthia A. Fink as their commander for this 2014-2015. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
By the way, I guess you're aware the Tennessee State Fair is going on, so if you get out there and at the State Fair, come in and join us, see us. The American Legion Post 5, DAV Chapter 3, and the Korean War veterans all have booths out there, so in the exhibition hall. So come see us. It's on through Sunday of this weekend. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, this is record timing. We're actually going to, if I get a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Let me hear you say aye. Are there any opposed? Dismissed. And thank you, everybody. I appreciate your attendance, your input, your service to veterans. Have a good week ahead.